Hey there, my name is James Lee. Welcome to my channel 5149, where I talk business, politics, and society. And today we're going to talk about how to be a free thinker. I started this channel to create a community in search of truth, which requires us to collectively sift through a bunch of conflicting pieces of information from various different sources. So in a chaotic environment such as this, how can we best maintain our ability to think freely and think independently?
I want to know how you audit your thoughts. How do you know that you're not just following somebody blindly into some dumb?
Right, we're getting information from all over, left, right, center, differing opinions, differing agendas. So how do we audit our thoughts? Or how should we audit our thoughts to avoid being manipulated in our pursuit of knowledge or truth?
I want to know how you audit your thoughts. How do you know that you're not just following somebody blindly into some dumb?
Because I don't follow anybody blindly. I don't listen to anybody. There's nobody telling me to say anything. I don't trust.
Okay, here, then we'll do.
Power than me. I don't
Sure.
follow anything.
Okay, we'll do a concrete example then. When it comes to wearing masks, how do you know if that's a good idea or not?
Because if people more powerful than me are telling me to do it, I instantly don't believe them.
Okay, do you understand that that just makes you a sheep of the other herd, right?
Of what herd?
If there is yeah, I'm telling you, if there is a shepherd and he says all the sheep go left, you can either choose your own path or you can go right because he told you to go left. You understand? You're being just as controlled, right?
So who's controlling me?
The people that you don't like. When you do the opposite of what they say, they have just as much control over you as they do the other group of people.
Sheep of the other herd. I think it's a very common heuristic to say, I don't like corporate media, or I don't like the government for XYZ reasons. They've lied about this or that in the past. So going forward, if they tell me one thing, then the truth must be the other. This is how a lot of anti-establishment programming works.
From the beginning of the Chinese coronavirus epidemic, mask shortages have been a major problem. Some people hoarded hundreds or thousands of them. And of course, here in the United States, our own government didn't have nearly enough masks stockpiled to cope with what has happened. Instead, they told us lies, dumb lies, that anyone who thought about it for a second could see right through. They told the public, you shouldn't buy masks because masks don't work. On February 29th, the Surgeon General tweeted this, quote, seriously, people, stop buying masks. They are not effective in preventing the general public from catching coronavirus, but if healthcare providers can't get them to care for sick patients, it puts them and our communities at risk. A CNN piece from March 2nd says this, quote, Americans don't need masks. The CDC says that healthy people in the U.S. should not wear them because they won't protect them from the novel coronavirus. In fact, face masks might actually increase your risk for infection if they aren't worn properly, but medical workers who treat patients with novel coronavirus do need them, unquote. Time magazine joined in to whine, quote, health experts are telling healthy people not to wear face masks for coronavirus, so why are so many doing it? Why do you think, Time magazine, you moron? Of course masks work. Everyone knows that.
Yes, pro-mask Tucker Carlson actually existed at one point. Well, I can also find anti-mask Tucker Carlson.
Listen to the director of the CDC, Robert Redfield. He explained that actually masks are better than vaccines.
I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine.
Following? More guaranteed. There are now degrees of guarantee, apparently. Earlier this month, California's Governor Gavin Newsom sent a tweet from his office with this command, quote, going out to eat with members of your household this weekend? Don't forget to keep your mask on in between bites. Do your part to keep those around you healthy. Watch Newsom's fellow governor, Andrew Cuomo, the man who probably killed more Americans from coronavirus than anyone apart from the Chinese government, explain that if you don't wear a mask, you're a murderer.
I think it's disrespectful of people not to wear masks. I mean, think about it. Do I think local government should be enforcing it? And should there be sanctions? Yes. Yes. Because it is a public health emergency. And I think there should be a penalty. Because you could literally kill someone. You could literally kill someone because you didn't want to wear a mask.
You could literally kill someone. Literally, he said it twice. You selfishly wanted to breathe fresh air and conduct a human conversation. You are John Wayne Gacy.
By the way, I'm not here to debate masks. It's just an example. What I'm here to do is ask the question, What changed Tucker Carlson's mind? Did he change his mind based on his own independent thought process, analyzing data, reading scientific studies, listening to expert opinions? Or did he change his mind simply because in the first clip, the CDC did not recommend masking at the time, so he was like, of course, masks work, duh, the CDC is so dumb. And then in the second clip, the CDC's official guidance was to wear a mask in public, so he's like, masks aren't effective, of course, and the CDC director is a moron, blah, blah, blah. My point is, once again, it isn't about masking, nor is it an attack on Tucker Carlson. My point is simply that if you always just take the stance opposite that of the group that is your supposed adversary, be it the government or another group that you don't like, and this is very common in traditional media and independent media as well to a degree, then are you actually thinking independently?
Okay, so let's back up a little bit, right? So the correct answer was, I decide whether or not to wear a mask based on the data I've read, the studies I've gone over, the articles I've read. That's the right answer. I've seen enough information to point me one way or another. Joe, if you want to wear a mask or not, that should be something that you arrive at through your own independent thought process, not because somebody else tells you not to.
Okay, well, the government's telling you to wear it, so you're echoing and doing what they're telling you to do.
I'm not doing it because the government tells me to do it.
Right,
I don't care what the government. I'm not a sheep, so I'm not looking at what the government says.
You don't care what the government says? I thought you trust them. I thought you trust the process.
I trust the process of some of the things involved with the government, but that doesn't mean that I do it just because they say to do it. There are things the government could tell me to do that I would disagree with. That's possible.
Trust is tricky, and this is kind of the flip side of the coin. Basing views on people you like can also have significant shortcomings.
Because that is one of the dangers in independent media. There's a lot that's so exciting about independent media right now. I mean, you see the traditional media is just like dying. The ratings are failing. People are abandoning them in droves. Obviously, trust has completely fallen off a cliff. But there are some pitfalls in independent media, too. And one of them is that you develop an audience that is one ideology, that just wants to hear one thing.
That kind of media bubble that she talks about definitely exists in all media ecosystems, whether it be traditional or independent. People you like for a bunch of different reasons, economic, social, psychological, on and on, might be keen to only tell you stuff that you want to hear. Now, of course, don't get me wrong. I want to build that trust with you. I want you to like me and support me. But beyond those nice things, I also want you to go out there and listen to other people's ideas, people you don't like, people I don't like, in order to piece things together, to follow the money, to figure out the underlying motives and incentives of the people who run the world, and then to bring that information back so together we can challenge each other and form a conclusion factoring in multiple different viewpoints from many different types of sources. Only then can we truly escape indoctrination and achieve true freedom of thought and liberation. That is all for me this week. A little bit of a different type of segment, a little bit shorter than usual, just a kind of a thought piece, but something I've wanted to articulate for a little while now. So thank you so much for listening. I'm curious to know how you form your thoughts. So please share in the comments below. And while you're at it, please take a second to support my channel by liking this video, sharing it, subscribing to my channel, also hitting that notification bell so we can do our best to stay in touch. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you next week.